Hello and welcome to In the Studio. I'm your host this evening, Alex Silva, and my guests this evening are members and coaches of the Davis School's robotics team, also specifically the Citrus Circuits robotics team of Davis, California, and we'll explain all that in a little bit. Citrus Circuits is an extracurricular robotics team made up of junior and high school students from the Davis School District. But as we'll soon see, their accomplishments and influence spread far beyond Davis. So we'll introduce everybody here, starting with Brycen. Brycen is the electrical team lead.
Yes, I'm the electrical team lead. I'm a senior at Davis High School.
Okay, and you are?
And my name is Michael Corsetto. I'm a mentor for the team, the assistant coach, and an engineer working in Davis, and alumni of another first team and mentoring this team now.
Okay, and?
My name is Elise Wong, and I am a senior in high school, as well as the team captain of the Citrus Circuits robotics team.
Excellent. So the robotics club, this started with Dean Kamen's first robotics, or was it called First Robotics? But first initiative to encourage math, science, engineering, etc. in the schools, correct? And your particular team was founded in
2005 by Steve Harvey, a math teacher at Davis Senior High School. He started the team with help from another team that was existing in Vacaville. Since the team has started in 2005, they competed every year in the first robotics competition, which is the high school level competition that's a part of the first organization.
Okay, and there are other levels of organization within FIRST. So there's also the FIRST Lego, which we were talking about earlier.
There's First Lego League, which is aimed at the 5th through 8th grade demographic. There's a Junior First Lego League, which is for even younger students in early elementary school. And then there's an FTC program, which is kind of a midway between FLL and FRC, which is the high school competition that FRC is the competition that this team competes in.
Okay. So currently, Elise, how many members do you have in the
we have about 50 to 60 students, and so they're 9th through 12th grade. And we meet every Wednesday at the Davis Senior High School from 2:45 to 5 p.m. And right now we're actually going through lessons on the different sub-teams. So we're doing mechanical right now, and in a couple of weeks we'll be also teaching about electronics and programming before the students split up into their specific sub-team that they want to join.
Sub-teams. And the whole competition starts in January, correct?
Yes, so we have what we call a kickoff date. This year it's going to be January 3rd, where we receive the game animation as well as the rule book. And so pretty much that day we start our strategy and planning kind of what we want to do and what mechanisms we want to use for the game. And then we have 6 weeks to build, program, wire our robot. And we bag and tag our robot, which means we can't touch it after that until we get to competition. And that's around February 18th.
Okay, and every team gets the exact same bundle of parts, correct, to work with. So it's a level playing field?
Somewhat. Brycen can explain.
Yeah, everybody gets a kit of parts, which will have the basics and allow you to make a very basic base for your robot. Everything above that, we buy, design, produce, and it's bought by the team. And we actually don't use the kit bought base. We make our own base with help from our sponsors.
So that's within the rules. It's allowed to add on your own stuff. I assume they have some sort of limits.
Yeah, this is the highest level of this competition, and so they encourage the most creativity in manufacturing. So the team owns some industry standard manufacturing equipment, mills, CNC mills, lathes, that the students are trained how to operate and program themselves, as well as all this robot is designed on a computer CAD software before it's ever manufactured. And so the students are learning industry standard software to complement their industry standard manufacturing processes and making this robot. So
it's much more in depth than just assembling a kit that somebody sent you. And wow, that's a lot of learning. Brycen, why don't you tell us here, this has a name, right?
Yes, this is Becca.
Okay. And why don't you tell us a little bit about Becca and her various systems.
Okay. Becca is divided into a couple of subsystems, down from the base, which contains all the electronics and the drivetrain, to the catapult here, which is used to launch the balls, which are the game piece for this year. The arms here are used to intake the balls, and these side arms or secondaries are used to hold the ball down into place on top of the catapult while it prepares to shoot.
Okay. And the robot is driven or piloted by students, correct? So it's not autonomous in this case.
It's actually, we do have an autonomous portion of the game. So the whole game is 2 minutes 10 seconds long. The first 10 seconds is an autonomous period where the robot is purely just run by code, and you also get more points if you score during the autonomous period. And then the rest of the 2 minutes is driver operated. So you have a driver and then a operator who we use a gamepad to, say, operate the arms and the side arms and things like that. We also have a coach. Mike is also our coach too. So you have 3 people kind of behind the wheel.
And you also have, I understand you got an award for having an all-female driver team this year?
So we went to a competition a couple weeks ago called Capital City Classic, located in Elk Grove, and they had girls' exhibition matches. I was actually the driver, and we had the same operator and human player because they were already female. And then our co-captain, Nikki, was our coach. And so, yeah, it was only best 2 out of 3, and we won both of our matches for the Tricks in Charge game and won an award, which is awesome.
So you guys have been dominating the local scene lately, right? I mean, you won the Sacramento Regional last 2 years in a row, right? Or is it 3 now?
We won the Sacramento Regional in 2010 and 2011. And then in we won it in 2011 and 2012. Then in 2013, we got to the finals. We almost won it. Then again in 2014, which was this past year, we won Sacramento again.
Yeah. And then you've also gone on to the finals nationally in St. Louis, correct? And done quite well there as well, right?
Yeah, actually, the past 2 years, 400 teams from actually around the world qualify for the championships in St. Louis. They divide them up into groups of 100. And so you're playing versus a group of 100 for a majority of the competition. The past 2 years, the Davis team, Citrus Circuits, have seeded first out of that group of 100, ended up winning their division, and have gone on to the final 4 that's played between the winners of each 4 divisions at the championships in St. Louis. And then last year, we got knocked out in the semifinals, the first round of that final 4. But this past year, 2014, we won the semifinal round and took the final round to a best out of 3 match. So dropped the first one, won the second one by a large margin, and it was back and forth the entire 3rd match for the final match of the 2014 season.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you say there's 400 teams qualify, but there's actually about 2,700, 2,800 teams that are all trying to qualify in the first place. So that is an incredible accomplishment for what's going on here in Davis. So in 10 years, it's gone from just starting up to now this 60-team person powerhouse. And we have some video that we'll show in a little bit about the competition that they were in St. Louis. But I'd like to ask you a little bit about how does somebody get involved in the team? Like, what kind of people want to join, and do they have to be really good at math and engineering and things to begin with, or are there other roles?
No, the only requirements we really have for students joining is you just have to be 9th through 12th grade. You don't have to have any previous knowledge about robotics or machining or electrical or anything like that. We're definitely here to be, a learning tool where kids can come in with no experience and, get a lot out of it that they wouldn't get in a normal classroom necessarily. We also don't only do technical things like building a robot. We also have a business media team. The video you'll see soon was made by students completely. And we do, photography and a lot of writing also, and press releases, things like that. So it's a great experience kind of for anyone who wants to learn about different things.
In addition, not all of our engineering is solely based around the robot. We also have an app design team which do iPhone and Android apps that interface with the competition itself. We use to scout out other robots, which is not on the robot, but still engineering.
So you have your intelligence team that gathers data on your opponents, huh?
That's actually been one of the keys to our success, is having the most information about who we're playing with and against, so that we can make the most educated strategy decisions. As a coach on the field, I get all the data that the students have collected in a very clean and easy to understand format that I'm able to then work with other teams to plan out and execute more advanced strategies, and has been one of the keys to the team's success so far. So, like Elise was saying, we have a whole wide range of students on this team. It actually operates more like a small business than a team, because we have to fundraise all these funds as well. And I'm sure we'll talk about that more later, but it's a large budget. And so students have the opportunity to be a part of raising a $100,000 budget on an annual year. So that's one of the opportunities that we have for students that are interested in business and interested in talking to, we have a lot of professional contacts in and outside of Davis. So students have the opportunity to interface with them and make business presentations and pitches and talk about why a company would want to support financially this sort of undertaking. So
okay, that's
pretty
great.
exciting.
Let me ask, because I know you have to go in a little while, Brycen.
Yeah.
What personally kind of originally got you interested in robotics and drew you to the field, and even before the circuit's involvement?
Before the team, I really wasn't super interested in engineering. I mean, I was looking into a lot of different fields. I actually joined the team not because I was interested in robotics, but just because that's where all my friends are going, right? And so, but then after I joined the team and started doing it, I found I really loved it, right? I really like building and electronics specifically, and yeah.
Do you think you'll continue on with it when you go on to?
Yes, I think so. I think I'm going to pursue an engineering degree and go into that field.
Do you think you'll be hitting UC Davis? It seems like they're one of the top places now for robotics and biomechanical, and not just agriculture.
Yeah, UC Davis is a great school, especially for computer engineering and computer science.
Elise, you think you'll continue with the robotics?
Yeah, definitely. I kind of had a small interest before I joined the team, just, taking apart things, stuff like that. Really basic, though, and definitely being on the team has expanded that interest. And so I'm probably going to go into possibly computer or electrical engineering, so into the STEM fields.
And Mike, obviously,
yeah, obviously,
stuck with it.
I started this program back in the Bay Area, did it all 4 years of high school, loved it, and so I actually came to UC Davis and graduated in 2011 in mechanical engineering. So, I kind of success story through the program, went through it, and love seeing these kids go up through it and want to pursue engineering as well. So it's very exciting.
Well, let's take a look at the video that we have about the competition. And we do have a photograph of members of the team, so why don't we put that up. There they are.
Yeah, this was taken
This is not the entire team, obviously. That's not all 60. But
nope. Yeah, that was our small crew that goes to St. Louis for that competition. We can only take a small crew because, of course, it costs a lot to travel over there. So we're not able to take everyone to that trip.
Okay, and here's the competition. So they score points by hurling the balls through the various goals is the basic method, right?
Yes, so you get points for shooting in the high goal, the low goal, shooting over the truss or the bar you see in the middle of the field, as well as assist points. So if you see different zones later in the game.
Okay.
But yeah, so we're transferring stuff in St. Louis right now,
So
traveling.
you have to actually pack and ship your robot and all this things. And as you said, you're taking a pretty sizable team. So it's the World Championships.
Yep, and this is from the floor of the Edwards Dome in St. Louis where the Rams play. So we take up the whole dome as well as the convention center adjacent to it. And there's our robot shooting goals into the high goal.
And so you get,
You can see they all have the bumpers, as we were talking earlier. So you can play a little defense and jostle each other a little bit.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of defense. You can see they're trying to block us right now. And like Elise was saying, the whole goal is passing those balls between them. So we're on the field passing the balls around. You get more points for passing it between all three of your teammates before you finally score it, and then trying to do that as many times.
So you have 3 robots actually on the field playing at once.
Yeah, you play with 2 other random teams versus 3 other random teams. And so it's a 3-on-3 strategy game.
I see.
based.
So you actually have to collaborate with your other teams.
And right now it's going through a montage showing us our win-loss record in those random matches. So you can see we're approaching a 10-0 undefeated record in the 10 random matches that they gave us.
So everybody basically wants to work with you guys, is what
Yeah.
you're saying. They want to win.
Yep, and they just announced our team right now as the undefeated first-seeded team, which means out of 100 teams, we're first ranked, and we get to pick our first choice alliance partner to go with us into the elimination matches, exactly. And so we actually paired up with a team out of Canada, Team 1114, who's a couple years older than us, and they're based out of Toronto area.
And that's a reference to, when we see the numbers, the 1678, and you say 1114.
Yeah.
Could you explain that for the audience, what that means?
Yeah, team numbers are assigned based off of when you registered, and so the lower the team number, the older the team. And so 1678, we are the 1,678th team to register. And so right now, actually, we're going right into the finals here. So we just won our division, and as you can see, there's a whole huge crowd of people watching. Different celebrities were here watching the matches. This is us tied in the final match, and actually Brycen is interviewed here.
There he is.
So this is the last match of the 2014 season for the entire competition, and you can see us putting up points and almost getting there. There's 11-14 scoring that ball in the high goal, but we ended up losing that final match just by 30 points. Super close. It was back and forth the whole time. People are describing it as the most exciting finals match they've ever seen in this competition.
Well, I mean, it's stiff competition. You're talking about, thousands of teams worldwide, and you made it to the end, they made it to the end, so pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And all started right here out of Davis.
That's right.
That's what I find pretty amazing. So one of the things about this is not just for the students to learn about robotics and things, but what were some things that you learned out of this that were not the obvious things, maybe like the engineering and math, but other things that you didn't really expect to get out of it that you did?
Yeah, you definitely learn a lot of other skills, like communication's definitely a big one on the team. Teamwork, working together, being respectful while still being in a competitive mode. First has kind of coined a term called co-opertition, where even though you're competing against each other, you're totally willing to help out if a robot breaks down or if you need a tool, things like that. So it's definitely competing, but still helping each other out in the process. Also, just other things I've learned is presentation skills. I used to be a very quiet person, hated talking in front of crowds, but it's definitely, robotics has challenged me in a way where I'm growing a lot in the way that I can also apply in the future, say in jobs or things like that, which is awesome.
That's fantastic. And one of the things that your team is doing is helping other teams start here in Yolo County, right?
Yeah, we actually are working with a group of high school students from both Pioneer and Woodland High School that are in the process of forming a FIRST Robotics team, just like we have here in Davis, up there in the Woodland area for the students in that region. They approached us a couple of months ago now, interested in the program, didn't really know anything about it, and once we saw that they had interest, we wanted to get them hooked, and so we did everything we could to start growing that interest. We demoed our robot up there at their meetings to show the students what it could be like if you joined a team like this or made a team up there. And then once they had an interested group of students, we actually, using a backup robot that we had for this year, we worked with them to modify it to be competition ready, and then we paid for their registration fee and actually did all the transportation and everything for them and invited them to come out and compete with that robot at the Capital City Classic competition in Elk Grove about a month ago. And so they all came out, competed there, had a great time. They made it to the semifinals. They were probably 3 times more enthusiastic than our kids were because this is their first time seeing a competition like this, and they absolutely loved it. They loved it so much actually that they want to come with us for our next off-season competition in November. And so we're going to another kind of fall scrimmage down in Madera, and so they're fundraising right now to pay for the travel fees, and we're going to pay for their registration again, and get their robot that we kind of help them build down to that competitions, as they can compete again, get some more practice, learn more of what it's like to be in a competition like this. And they've actually already registered for the Sacramento Regional that's held at the Arc Pavilion at UC Davis this spring. So they'll be going through the whole build season this year, just like our team does every year. So they're on board for this coming season now.
That's fantastic. So you're providing not just knowledge and encouragement, but all kinds of support tools, robots, everything. And I think that kind of really exemplifies what you said about what was the term?
Co-opertition.
Co-opertition, yeah. That they could be up against you someday, but you're there to help them get started and keep going. And there's also, we mentioned earlier, the first Lego versions, which you have some involvement with as well, right?
Yeah, one of our students, actually our co-captain now, Nikki, she worked with a couple of interested parents last fall to start one FLL team of just like 8 or 9 students, again, grades 5 through 8, where they build smaller Lego robots that compete on like a 4-foot by 8-foot table in smaller missions. Using the programmable Mindstorms kits that Lego offers. This is actually a fairly large program worldwide. There's actually more teams in FLL than there are in FRC.
Wow.
And that program grew so quickly, they had more students on the team than they could actually legally bring to competition. It's a 10-student max at the competition, and they had like 12 or 13 active participants by around November of last year. And so our team immediately saw the huge demand in Davis for a program like that. And so we started putting out interest flyers in all the local junior high and elementary schools. Our students printed out the flyers, distributed those to the schools, talked to the principals, tried to get as much support as we could. We hosted one parent info night in April or May of this past year of 2014. And had over 50 signups from interested parents. And so we now have started 7 more FLL teams in Davis, bringing us to 8 teams total of about 8 to 10 students each in 5th through 8th grade. And our hope next year is to spread the program even more. Hopefully more parents know that this program is available for their 5th through 8th graders. It's a low-cost competition, but students have the opportunity to build Lego robots, learn about programming, about building, about teamwork, working together, competing, and we're hoping to start about 20 teams next year and grow the Davis FLL program. It is something that's really strong in the region.
And that provides seeds for future members for when they get to junior high and high school and want to start building much bigger robots.
Exactly. We're really hoping students will come out of the 8th grade interested in what can I do next? Like, how can I get even more involved and learn more in this STEM field? And so we're hoping that our team is the place that they land, and that just makes our program stronger, which will feed back into the programs that we're starting.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So we've covered a lot of things. I have a lot of notes here. There's so many things that we could talk about. What is it about Davis? Because it seems to be just a hotbed for this. I mean, it's taken off. It's been incredibly successful. Here you are now spreading it to the younger kids, and it's taken off even quicker than when it first got started with the high school level. So do you think there's a quality of Davis and Yolo that's like, for some reason, you know?
I definitely think Davis, I've lived here my whole life, so I already think it's amazing. But definitely we've been getting just a lot of support from community, parents. The school district this past year has definitely helped out a lot also. And, you know, having a college, UCD, has also been a great resource. You know, we hold our regional there, and
they're a sponsor of the team, right?
Yes, they're one of our biggest sponsors. The chancellor and especially all the deans have helped us out with fundraising and things like that, and they have been awesome, and you know, helping us out. So yeah, I think it's just kind of the Davis outlook, and definitely trying to boost these types of programs and expand them, and really get kids involved with hands-on activities that will get them interested in, you know, in boosting their own education and things like that.
And as you said, it's not just about the mathematics. There's so many other fields that you bring into play that people are interested in. You sound like
Yeah,
you have
well,
some-
no, I mean,
Go
I
ahead.
think two things that stand out right off the bat is one, just the from prominent figures in Davis, the immense amount of support that we've received from Linda Gatehi, the chancellor, donating all of our competition fees the last couple of years have been paid for by her office. Incredibly generous, and she also rallies the deans at UC Davis to sponsor us individually. So we have 8 to 10 different colleges at UC Davis that are sponsors of our team, which is incredible. And then additionally, the principal of DHS, Will Brown, has been one of our #1 fans. He's wearing our shirt all the time on campus. Came to watch our competition last year and instantly said, "We want to get you guys at the high school," because we had previously been working out of
And
a shipping
now
container.
there's an official year-long robotics course.
Now
at the
there's a
school,
year-long
right?
program and a room associated with it too. So we have a full machine shop that the school fronted a lot of the money for that facility. So that's one thing. And then two, just all the skills that students get out of this program that are outside of the classroom. They're, like Elise said, they're learning how to communicate, work as a team, overcome barriers, meet deadlines, stuff that that honestly just the in-classroom setting sometimes can't
Right.
teach those intangibles that they get only from experiencing something like an intense 6-week robot build season where you start out with nothing and in 6 weeks you have to have a world-class competition ready machine. And that's the experience that students are
And the
getting out of
business
this.
skills, that's not something most high schools really don't, unless they're very specialized, don't teach the business skills. And of course, that's what we hope
Absolutely.
will drive the future economy here in
Yeah,
the country,
we
right?
have an excited group of students that are setting the budget, figuring out how they're going to raise the funds necessary, approaching companies.
Yeah,
It's
that's a huge
incredible.
budget.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, I think that kind of wraps it up. We're almost out of time here, only maybe a minute or two left. So I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in and learning about the Citrus Circuits Robotics Club and the Davis Schools Robotics Team. And I think now you understand why we have these sort of two names, because it's not just about the club and it's not just about Davis Schools. It's expanded to everything, but it's thanks to this team and its leadership, and then continuing and coming back and helping support the program even after you're no longer in it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in it, but, well, you guys get what I say.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for being on the show. And that's in the studio for this evening. Tune in again for another exciting topic in the studio.